Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, lesson plans get crowdsourced, a dress that keeps you from getting naked, and robots. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the KickCast, the podcast where we go out and find cool crowdfunding projects and let you know if you should backtrack or sack them. I am Ktdata, and joining me is a man who, is an amazing professor that he's willing to spend his entire fall break grading instead of being outside with the sun. Drew Tyler, how are you doing today, Drew?
Fantastic. Now that I'm down here instead of grading, this is so much more fun. It's great to be here, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Should I ask you what the Grim outlook is? How many of these students will you have to see again?
I'm in the easy stuff, and most of them like me, and I like most of the students. I'm just trying to catch up so they don't hate me, so they don't, give me a bad rate my professor score. No, I'm just trying to catch up. I put off a lot of things, and I'm catching up. So no, they're good. They're good.
You see, one of your students is actually in the chat room right now asking for Browning points. So
I'm trying to figure out what she's doing there. This is usually not her bag. Like, we see Dr. Beat every once in a while. Is Drew getting dressed? Yes, I was getting dressed. I'm ready. I'm ready now. Ready to go.
He's got to put on his face and make him, all the fans.
Yeah. This is awesome.
All right. So, if you guys have not watched the show before, first of all, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Lacey.
We're 53 episodes in, and what we do is find you cool crowdfunding projects. But before we go into the projects tonight, and trust me, these ones are amazing on there, let's go cover some news.
Yes.
And it's kind of been a slow couple of news weeks because, fall's starting to set in and everybody's like, oh, summer's over. Oh, sad face. But I did find a brand new crowdfunding site.
I was going to say, it's been a while since we had a new site. We've covered, there was a closed site, there's a porn site, there's there's all kinds of crowdfunding bits out there. So what's this new one?
All right, this new one's a little bit different. So it is called Sqor. And I don't mean like dating score. I mean like
soccer.
Yeah, like goal, that kind of thing on there. So it is actually it's kind of weird. It's actually a editorial and social platform, and that's what it was launched as, a way for athletes to connect with their fans and people to keep updates with their favorite fans and stuff. Recently, they've just barely launched a crowdfunding platform on top of Sqor. So this is really
fund what?
So that way you can actually help fund athletes. Say they need new, you're following a team, they need new gear or something. You can help fund for their new gear. So it's kind of aimed at both some of the larger athletes and some of the smaller ones. The one that's getting a lot of attention right now is Brett Favre. He's launched a crowdfunding project. He's aiming to raise $100,000 for his charity. He's not
okay, because I was like, doesn't Brett have enough?
Yeah, one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history doesn't need the extra money.
Yeah.
But he's trying to raise money for a good cause out there. And so he's using this platform where apparently a lot of people have been on there, because I've never heard of Sqor before.
No.
Sqor.
Sqor.
Yeah, Sqor. On there. And after looking through it on there, I have a big problem with it. The UI is a mess.
It's like Tumblr.
It's a Pinterest page, essentially. I mean, because for you guys listening on the audio, just imagine Pinterest, except it's all sports related things on there. You have UFC fighters on there, you have volleyball players, you have soccer players on there. It's all updates like that, and then they have the crowdfunding hidden inside here, and that's the problem with it. Is both in the iPhone, in the smartphone app, and on the website, it is really, really hard to see where anybody's even crowdfunding. Because some of these, if you click on them, it's just, like a Facebook or a Twitter update with a picture and just, a little bit of updates on there, and they're not even crowdfunding. So I think it's a UI nightmare, and I think it says something is because if you look at Brett Favre's page, he has launched his crowdfunding site project for 2 days already. He's only raised $680.
And that's Mr. Favre.
Yes. A well-known NFL player. He has 3,000 people. He's following 3,000 people, but he has 12,000 people following him on his page, and he only has $680. And part of it is, if you look, there's only a little blurb at the top on what he's, his cause and what he's crowdfunding for. and a little bit down here. But if you go next, is just, updates about Manning and the Jets and everything, where it doesn't really relate even back to anything about Brett Favre, and it just gets lost. You can see his Twitter post right here, and then there's all just news about football halfway through. So, I think it's great that they're trying to customize it down to a specific, just sports, but I can't find anything in it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It seems like it's kind of tacked on and hidden away.
Yeah, I don't know, Drew. What do you think? Could they make this work?
Gosh, they could make it work. I think. I mean, any community with a large enough base and awareness could probably make this work. I feel like they might have more success if they just encourage each of these sports people to do their, whether it's charity or individually. They might have more effect by tying it into a Kickstarter, like posting here and tying back into a Kickstarter where it's platform's already there, or Indiegogo or something. This just seems not quite fully cooked.
Yeah, and I just think there's too much noise. It suffers from what I call Facebook stream syndrome now.
Yeah.
Where Facebook has so much stuff going in, and they're always trying to tweak and modify their algorithm so much, and they've already started down this path where it just gets lost.
Yeah. I feel like somebody higher up was like, you know what everybody's doing now? Crowdfunding. You know what we should do now? Crowdfunding. Put it in there.
Who can we find? Brett Favre. You want to crowdfund? Just do it.
Show them how it's done. Anyway, so yeah, I'm with you. Interesting. I'm not sure it's baked.
Okay. All right. And then the other piece of news is, I think it's a good reminder, especially if we have new people that are in crowdfunding, is there's always the question is how to figure out if you should contribute to a crowdfunding campaign. So Lifehacker put out this article a couple of days ago, which I love, where it says, should I contribute to crowdfunding campaigns like Kickstarter? And I think this is a good reminder to everybody, or points for new people, is things you should do before you start putting down money.
Right.
On one of them. And then, so one of the things they talk about is, remember, you're not shopping, you're investing or donating to something. This is the biggest thing where people are like, oh, it's like some people talk about how they go on Kickstarter to shop and find all these projects. But remember, a lot of these projects do not exist yet. Sometimes they're just ideas on there. So don't expect to get anything. You're essentially giving them money, and possibly you could get something out of it, but you're helping somebody's dream. That's the way I tell people. It's like you're helping fund someone's dream, and sometimes you may get a return. Sometimes you just get the feel goods that you helped somebody.
Yeah. If you go with that attitude, then you usually come out much more satisfied, because there are things that take a long time to even get the rewards out. There are some that never make it there. So if you go with that attitude, you'll be better off. Yeah.
And then another one is read the terms of the crowdfunding site before you contribute, because every site has a little bit different terms on how they work. Like Kickstarter, it's all or nothing. Indiegogo, sometimes it's all or nothing. Sometimes it's you get they keep whatever you donate. Other times is where they're not responsible if the project doesn't deliver. Other places they're helping do that, so they're a little bit more responsive. So read the terms first, and remember, you're playing with you're dealing with your money, so be careful and be smart about it before you kind of jump in head first on there. I mean that's what I did. I wanted to make sure I was a little bit safe.
Who is this Brett Favre guy? Should I give him money? I don't know.
Yeah. Football isn't that some no-name sport no one plays? What
is football?
And then one of the other things is see what everybody else is saying before you contribute. This is one of the biggest things that people do not do, but most of these sites have comment systems, or you can Google them up and see what other people are talking about it. If it looks a little shady, you may want to think about that. So do some research. Just because it's on a crowdfunding site doesn't mean it's okay.
Right.
The problem with these crowdfunding sites is they get so many submissions, things get past them fairly easily.
Do your due diligence. Do a little bit of research to make sure that you try and get to know as much as possible the people who are providing the project. I often will do that. I'll look up CEOs. I'll Google people that are behind the teams that that are making something, and get a little sense of what they can provide. Yeah,
and even talk to your friends. You'd be surprised how many times I'm passing projects to Drew. It's like, what do you think about this? Do you think it's a good idea? Talking with people, especially people who've done this before, it helps. I mean, that's the whole point of this show, is we try to vet as much as we can before we feature projects on here too.
Yeah, I wish we do more of the funny ones, because sometimes we get all these good serious ones and we give some good feedback and learn a lot. But there are a few that we just end up tossing out the door that are like, man, I'd love to rip that apart. I'm just too nice.
Yeah, one of them I actually skipped for tonight is actually a targeting system for the toilet for guys, so they can you can keep score on there, and you can actually put on the tank the top 4 scores.
Wow.
And
frat houses would have a blast.
Yes,
with
the whole idea was to get people to actually go in the toilet and not around it.
Man, I wish I had boys.
And then the other one is don't be afraid to change your donation levels. Well, it's a little harder for these partial funding ones where they just take your money off. But on such as Kickstarter and stuff, if you're worried that it starts getting more fishy, or it's like, well, maybe or not, you read the
questions
comments,
not getting answered.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, drop it down to $1 or I think you can drop it down to a penny too. So that way you're only out a penny. And lower your risk. So you're like, oh, I don't know, $100. I don't like this. Drop it to the minimum you can, and minimize your losses if you start getting fishy on that. So just that's another one. And the last thing is, do not expect the world. One of the things that you see even in Kickstarter, and what we recommend people, is always under promise and over deliver.
Yeah. Just in life, I think that gets you much farther. If you under promise and over deliver, you raise somebody's expectations. I think all the way along the road, you feel better. So going into these things, if you under expect, then easier for them to over deliver.
Yeah. And that's just expect that sometimes. But as much as we tell people that, sometimes it's the opposite, where they over promise and under deliver. I mean, I'll tell you one of my personal cases. Space Monkey. I'm still waiting for mine. Barely got a shipping label and sent it back, and they're like, "Oh, might take another month or so to get yours."
And I've
been waiting for about a year now.
I drove down and got mine when they had alpha, so I've had mine for about a year now.
Yeah. So,
do you want to borrow mine? It's not doing much now.
Well, the wrong one they sent was sitting as a paperweight for like 6 months. So.
Yes, I'm with you. Under delivered, yes.
But I'll once we get this, I'll do a KickCast rewind on it, and you'll hear my thoughts about it. On there. So those are just some quick crowdfunding reminders and information for people who are kind of new to this game, and just like anything else with any other purchase you would do, just some due diligence, because it is your money that you're playing with right now.
Right.
All right. So. Let's kind of go back into those topics. Drew, we were talking about how you're teaching, you're kind of grading and stuff. My question to you is how, because I don't teach, and when I did, I had pre-made lesson plans. But how do you figure out your lesson plans?
I wing it. I mostly just walk in the room and be like, "Hey, what are we doing today, guys?" And then I just wait for the class to tell me. And usually it's like nap time, or "Hey, let's do homework for this class." No, I've got a pretty good structure, and I try and fill out the class. And so every semester I try and understand what the students' needs are. And so that's something that I do personally. I just want to know what the class balance is. What's the makeup? What are their emphasis? What are the things that they are trying to accomplish in their careers and their life goals? How do I tie in the topics to that? So I don't know. I do a lot of Googling. I look for a lot of blog posts and videos and things to kind of supplement what I'm teaching. I don't know if there's an easy way.
Wow. This is why you want Drew as a teacher. That is crazy, crazy insightful. And the funny thing is I took a lot of science classes, and those were kind of pretty rigid.
Yeah. Right.
So I was as I'm hearing you talk about whoa, I wish I had a professor like Drew.
Well, I just asked my studio crew in our Facebook group. I just said, hey, they might want me to teach this senior class, which is like a capstone class. And I kind of put it out there. I was like, if I was going to teach it, when's the best time for you guys to take it? And I thought they'd just kind of be like, oh, whatever, night classes or daytime. But they're all very excited that I might have the possibility of teaching. So they're all very supportive. Be like, yeah, we'd totally take it from you, Drew. I was like, okay, either I'm a really easy teacher, or they like me as a teacher. Maybe I'm just easy. And they're like, yeah, that'd be so sweet because I wouldn't have to do anything.
My question is, why aren't you recording these and putting it into like a sizzle reel to give to your boss? So when review time comes around, hey, take a look at this.
Everyone loves me. I do. I just show her the hot pepper on Rate My Professor. That's all it takes. I just go.
It's like, bam.
Dr. Josephson, have you seen the hot pepper? No. I know. I totally pissed off those kids and I flunked them. But have you seen the hot pepper?
The hot pepper does not lie.
I'm doing fine.
On there. Okay. So my question is, how do you feel about if your lesson plans were crowdfunded? I mean, because we love crowdfunding here. How would you feel if we introduced crowdfunding into your project?
Like financed? Like, I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of cost expense with my lessons.
No, it wouldn't be
like projects.
Like, so if your lesson plans, you didn't even have to plan them. You could just go out and have another teacher already make them, pull them out, and use that as your lesson plan.
That would make things easier because I do look around to see what other teachers are using to teach, and then I try and kind of cobble it together to fit my audience. So that sounds enticing. Tell me more.
All right. So our next project is actually called Crowd School, and what they want to do is essentially build a crowd sourcing platform for project-based learning. This is kids of all ages. I remember when I went to school, I got excited when I got to do a project instead of just sit there and stare at the board for 8 hours a day on there. And so they want to build a platform like this. And the way it's going to work is they're going to allow teachers to either look for lesson plans, create lesson plans, or use ready-made plans already on there to do project-based classroom curriculum on there. So it actually does run a lot like any of our crowdfunding sites where there's going to be a challenge video from a teacher who's an expert in their field or created that project on there. It'll have, your learning objectives, standards to the Common Core. I didn't have the Common Core when I was going through school, so I
didn't miss anything.
I barely know what that is.
I think it's retarded, but that's a personal issue I have.
I don't know. It sounds like it's the new hotness
on
there. And what's cool is there's a back chat channel. So you're like, hey, I have a student who's really stuck on this aspect of it. How did you guys approach it? And you could connect with other teachers. They could be halfway across the world, and they still could help you on there. And what's even cooler is since these kids are creating different projects and stuff, they even have an area where the students can actually share their projects, and other students can watch and see what they did and get ideas off of that. So they're trying to build a community where people are, talking together and working together with everything. On there. And so I think it's a good idea. They already have a prototype. They've tested it in a couple schools in LA already, and now they're ready to take it to the beta stage. But they need some more money, so that way they're looking to raise $25,000, and that is so they can hire some more consultants and some more programmers, so they can take this onto a larger scale.
This for me is an ideal place for crowdfunding to come in. You've got a proof of concept, you've got something that's working, and you want to upscale it without selling out or going to someone that's going to fund it for you, and take it. So I think this is an ideal. And I've been having issues as we looked through things today for this shows today, with so many projects that are like fully baked, ready to go. All I have to do is hit send on the stuff that's already made. So this is a really nice, refreshing, help us do something cool that we want to just grow. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I mean, would you do this?
I would do this.
Would you be a person who either creates lesson plans or pulls a lesson plan off there?
I think I would probably pull bits and pieces and create mega super cool lesson plans. I think I'd be a creator. I like this.
Yeah, and I love how you can sell some of these lesson plans. So it becomes, teachers helping teachers. So I'd hope the teachers would price it moderately, but then I know teachers spend far more than their budget from their personal funds to help the students out because it's all for the kids.
Yep. They give you this. I know grade schools often just give you this tiny budget to do the littlest of things throughout the school year, and so teachers know what the students need, and they have no. Yeah, they often will drop dollars just to keep going.
Yeah, the only thing I'd be a little bit worried about is these creator expert videos. Because you see it in crowdfunding projects. Sometimes they're filming in this dark, dank room using their built-in stuff and can't hear anything.
Right. So is that really going to be the best way to deliver it?
Yeah. I hope they actually kind of develop, guides and tools to help teachers make good videos, because that's going to be important to get this platform running. If you look and then you have these badly made iPhone videos that are just shaking all the place explaining it, it takes a little bit of the credibility away.
Yep.
On there. So But I love it. And, I think it's a great way to have kids learn is do projects instead. Because, everybody learns a little bit differently. And some kids can't just sit behind a desk all day and just.
And I think that's a key thing. And that's I guess where I would hope that this would come into play is to giving more teachers the excitement of excitement to the lessons, something engaging. A lot of teachers get into teaching because that's the way they learn, and so they connect with teachers and they grow up and go, hey, I want to be a teacher, because that's the way they learn, is by lecture or by teaching. And there's only a handful, I think, that think about a more kinetic way of learning. So I love that idea of being able to share those so that those that are lecturers can say, here's some projects we can do.
Yeah. So is this a backtrack or sack for you?
I'll back this. I'm in.
This is a back for me too. I mean, I'm like, I want to help kids. I want to help the future. I mean, who knows? Some of these kids could be, your next superstars in the world, and they just needed to learn a little bit differently than the traditional way at school.
Yep, I agree.
And it gets people excited. All right. So that was one problem that we've had. And then I don't know if you've ever had this problem, Drew, but, we have a lot of public parks and pools out there. And, you get out of the pool and you're like, I need to change. Or you get out of the gym and you're like, I need to change. But there's people around and,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't have that problem because I'm just like, watch out, world. I'm getting naked.
See, I'm a little more embarrassed because there are areas where light will hit and blind people because of the reflection on there. So I'm concerned about the people out there and their vision on there. So
you're so kind, so thoughtful.
I'm just saying there are parts of my body that are far too reflective and white on there. So this next project kind of solves the solution, or has a solution for this, right?
Yeah, this is a fantastic idea. So the next project that we have is called the Undressed. I think when I read this and watched their video, it was really well done and the idea was solid. So the Undressed is a dress that's not a dress that will let you change clothes in public without getting naked. So when I first read that, I was like, great. So this is a Snuggie. You strap it on and you climb inside the sleeping bag, do all of your changing, and then you climb out again, all done. Or, like a cocoon. But it's not. They have done this amazing, just simple update with this thing. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah. So if you look at the way the dress is laid out there, it looks like a decent, active wear or sports gown. I mean, there's somewhat elegant to it. But what I love, if you look at this picture right here, you can see that the way that they've built everything into this, they've really thought this through so that you can change everything. And they go into detail in the video and explain the way that you put this on is that there's a little cord with a plastic hook that you feed up through under your top pieces. I don't wear top pieces, but like sports bras or bras, you can feed it up through that. And so you basically are putting the dress on under your bra or your sports bra. If you're putting that dress on under that and cinching it down, then from there you can continue to dress and do the rest of the things that you need to do. And you don't have to worry about exposing anything because you've already covered it up before you even took it off. So for me, there was something about this project when I watched the Undress, and the video did a fantastic job of explaining it. It was great production value, and it was very like, here's where we're at, and here's why we, how we want this to go down. But it's the functionality. The form is beautiful. It's very simple. It's just an awesome way to solve a problem. It's a common problem. I think we've all dealt with this problem, and especially when they say, you don't want to get in your car with your swimsuit, you're all wet. You don't want to get your seats wet, or you just want to find a place to change. But the bathrooms are so nasty to go into the urinals and change. So what's the answer? Is simple solution, and I think that's what the beauty of crowdfunding kind of comes in, because they've sold us this solution and said, hey, how would you like this to solve your problem? And everybody went, yeah, we'll buy that. If you look at them now, these guys are already backed with 1,000+ backers. They've quadrupled their original goal for production, so they're up to 86,000 with another 2 weeks to go. I'm behind the Undress. I don't need an Undress because I'm a guy. I don't need the Undress.
I mean, yeah, that's my question is how come there's not a guy version for this? Oddly enough, when I put this out, far too many people ask me, I want to see you in a dress, and I'm a little worried about you guys out there.
I don't know. For me, this is a back. I think this is a really simple and elegant way to solve a simple problem. And I wonder, like the Snuggie. If the Snuggie went through a crowdfunding process, would it have come out the same at the end? Like, would people be I don't know. I think it would have probably come out in a different form because there's something about this one that just feels like they've market tested this. They've looked at it. They've solved a lot of problems, and there was a lot of bonuses that I haven't even mentioned of the ways that it's designed. So if you get a chance, check out the Undressed. There's a lot of thought put into this undressing dress.
Yeah, and I love it, and because the part of the reason I actually even picked it is because I'm like, Drew has girls. Eventually they'll grow up and they're gonna have problems with this on there. So this is a good solution. And I was like, as a father, do you appreciate this?
I would appreciate this as a father. I would absolutely rather have my girls, go in, because you know that they're going to be doing all kinds of CrossFit and yoga and just things where they go out, work out, and there's not a locker room everywhere you go. You go run a trail.
Sometimes the locker rooms are pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes I don't like changing in the guys' locker rooms. And you're like,
I'm just going to stay outside by the drinking fountain with my undress.
Yeah. And what's great about it is you can actually even wear it as a backup dress.
It's good looking dress, and it comes in different colors, and yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I think it's a great idea on there. So, is that a backtrack or sack for you?
That's a back for me.
Okay, this one's a back for me too, because I think it's a great idea. If somebody wants to get me one, I'll do a demo of it. Did I really just say that? Oh man.
Let's do it, folks. Let's get KT an undress, because I'd like to see him wear a sports bra. Yeah. You have to wear full.
I will do a KickCast rewind and do a demo of it for you guys on screen.
Here is how I undress. Then you could totally sell it on auction.
Yeah.
This is the undress that KT wore.
Yeah. All right. So I'm starting to see a theme that I didn't put together for this, and these are really solutions for Drew. This episode has been solutions for Drew.
Solutions for Drew. I like this. All right.
So another big thing is how one of the big things, especially in a lot of the science, engineering fields and the math fields, on there is it's hard to get kids excited about it because they're like boring numbers and things. I mean, I'm a little biased because I like all that kind of stuff on there. But the part of the reason why I got interested into that is one word: robots. Like robots. I remember as a kid watching on TV robots fight each other. I'm like, whoa! And then they give you the backstory on these teams, and sometimes it's like family teams. I'm like, wait a minute, if families are doing it together, you don't need to have a crazy degree. It's like maybe I can build my own robot, and that's where I kind of went into the science field and tried to figure that out. And through the years, there's been multiple kind of different robot shows out there. So now Robo Games, what they want to do is actually bring another video series out about their Robo Games in spring 2015 and show the events on there. And I'm super excited about this because not only are they showing, so Robo Games is not just robots fighting robots. That's probably
it has been to this point, hasn't it been robots fighting robots?
So no, what they have been doing is it started in 2004. So this is actually a 10-year-old thing, and it's almost like the Robot Olympics. Yeah, they actually have 54 different events now. They started off with like 30-something events, which range from robots fighting each other to like field hockey to like dance off. So you program your robots to do complicated dance moves and stuff, and you get judged on that. And look at the fire and put together on there. And so they've been putting together, and now they want to make a new series on there. And not only do they want to make a new video series to put out onto the web, they want to use it as a tool to get more kids, more families, more people interested in science, math, technology, engineering, all these different fields that you need to know on how to build a robot on there. And, I love it. And what's great about the Robo Games itself is that, so you're thinking probably these are all university teams, high school teams, right?
Right.
Anybody is allowed to enter the Robo Games as long as you have a robot. So that's one of the greatest things. So it doesn't just limit people to specifically, I'm just in there. So it helps get me excited. It helps build this community and robots, guys. Come on, robots.
Robots. Wow, I'm amazed. Like I'm watching some of the video and watching some of the stuff that they're doing. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think that it's one of those things that just makes sense to bring back. It did well in the first run when it was on TV, and it makes sense to kind of pursue it further.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. This is essentially the Olympics of robot competitions, because people come from all around the world to come on this, and like some of the winners are even met by like the presidents of their respective countries. Like the president of Mexico one year met the winning team.
Wow.
On there. And what's even cool is one of these levels, if you back it, you can actually get to pilot one of these robots.
Oh yeah? What level is that? Because I'm on board with that.
I forgot, but
5 battles, digital trader, million autograph. Yeah, I bet it's way up there, but I think that is cool.
It is one of the ones up there. And what's cool about this project that I don't see a lot with these community event driven ones is that there's levels where you can get a reserved seat for the event, even though the event is in San Francisco. And if you can't make it, you can donate that seat to a underprivileged charity that brings kids. So your seat will go to a little kid, who's in underserved areas, and he'll be able to watch the robot battles there, and you're donating it to them. So
that's cool.
That's one thing that I wish I saw a lot more projects, because I see a lot of these theater stuff and I'm like, well, that's in Maine. I like the idea, but I'm not gonna make it out from Utah all the way there. And I love that you can donate these tickets to help kids, to inspire them. And I'm like, that just describes what they're trying to do here. Is they want to inspire young minds, even old minds, any kind of minds, to get excited again about all these fields. And I love it. So if you guys can't tell, it's a back. I mean, I backed it the instant I saw it.
I think so.
I was like, robots.
That's very cool. Yeah, no, it's nice to see this kind of still living. To bring it back as a video series and to be able to have these events, this makes sense. They've still got a ways to go. Another 20,000 to go in the next 3 weeks, with 300 backers and a couple of updates. I think they probably got if they find the right audience and they find the right forums where people are, I think they'll be able to pull this off in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I love it. I'm all in for this. So robots, Drew, is this a backtrack?
It's a back. This is a back. I like the idea. I like video series. I love anything doing video. I wish they would have done a little bit better on their video. The audio's not great, and a couple of shots are out of focus. But
what I'm getting is that a lot of those might have just been home filmed videos, and because when they get the professional crew in there, they're actually going to have like 2 professional crews in there. So
I was going to say the show itself when it was produced was solid. So. Yeah. This is very cool. This is back for me.
Yeah, and if you guys don't believe how much I love robots, just go to ktdata.net and read my review of Pacific Rim from like a year ago, or maybe, is it almost 2 years ago? And just count how many times I say giant robots in that, and realize how much I love robots. And that was a big part of me growing up. Is even watching cartoons of Optimus Prime and Gundam, and all of those were robots. So, and unfortunately, Drew, that is actually our last episode of night. I don't know where the time goes.
1, 2, 3.
And it just, these are great projects. So if you guys have a project you want us to talk about, let us know at kickcast@ktdata.net, or leave a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/kickcast, or send us a tweet. You can tweet at KickCast for the show, or tweet Drew at Night20, or myself at Ktdata for our personal accounts. You'll see all the crazy stuff that we get into. Drew's giant candy stash.
You can ask me about my hot pepper.
Yeah, your hot pepper. And if you are a student of Drew, go rate him very highly on Rate My Professor, so he can give you more hot peppers.
They believe that I write my own reviews on there, but I have not written any of my own.
Are you kidding? That means they don't know you well, because that is legit. Far too much extra work for you. Because I can see this. Like, I gotta make another account and use it. Man. I gotta verify.
That's way too much work for me. You're right. I'll let my teaching do the work. I've only got a handful in there. So.
Yeah, but if you guys want to watch live, our next episode, October 28th. So the week of
Halloween episode. Yay!
Yeah, on there, and you can watch that at live.kickcast.net. That's where also you will find the chat room, and. You can talk about all the shows you can see on there. And I actually hang out in the chat room even on days we're not recording. So, you can stop by and I'll randomly post in random links and stuff on what I think is stupid or cool. I share my wealth on there.
Yeah, but we had a user submitted one project that didn't make the show tonight. But those links you'll throw up there and share things as we kind of prep for the show.
Yeah, quick shout out for Lior. Oh man, I had this down earlier. Avarahami on there. Sorry if I butchered your name. And his project called the Tabby
Yeah, it's a really cool kind of holder hanger for iPads and any type of tablet that gives you kind of a handle and a way to hang it and hold it up multiple places. So it's a very functional design.
Yeah, so check that out on Kickstarter. I think he has like 20 days to go or so on there. So make sure you guys check that out. And if you missed any of the show notes, you're like, wait a minute, where do I go donate for Robo Games? Where do I help Crowd School? Just go on to kickcast.net and you will see in the show notes links that will take you straight over there, and even the news articles and good stuff right there. And all the contact information. You're like, I don't remember it in this. Kickcast.net. Drew, thank you. I always appreciate. I know you're always busy, so I appreciate the time, and thank you for playing Destiny with me the other day too. That was fun.
Yeah, that's when I was shirking, so now I have to get back to work.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Good night.